I never imagined my wedding day in the heart of Arizona's Sonoran Desert would unravel like a frayed rope under the relentless sun. The venue was a rustic ranch outside Scottsdale, with red rock formations framing the ceremony like ancient guardians. Saguaros stood tall against the clear blue sky, and the air carried the faint scent of creosote after a rare morning rain. I'd chosen this spot for its raw beauty, no over-the-top glamour. Just honest elegance with wooden arches draped in wildflowers and string lights that promised a magical evening. My dress was simple lace, fitting for a Western bride who valued substance over sparkle.
Then,
My groom looked sharp in his tailored suit, his easy smile grounding me as we exchanged vows. But as the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the reception tables, my sister Emily shattered more than just the cake. It started innocently enough. Or so it seemed. Emily arrived late. As always, her truck kicking up dust on the dirt road leading to the ranch. She hopped out in a flowy sundress, phone in hand, already snapping selfies with a cactus backdrop. "This place is straight out of a Western flick," she quipped to her followers online, her voice carrying over the murmur of guests.
Betrayal.
Trying to ignore the knot in my stomach. We'd never been close growing up in Flagstaff. She was the wild one, always chasing thrills on horseback or off-roading in the canyons, while I buried myself in books and later, my career as a teacher. But family is family, right? Mom, Margaret, had insisted on inviting her, saying blood ties run deeper than old grudges. The cake was my pride. 3 tiers of vanilla with buttercream frosting, adorned with edible desert blooms I'd designed myself. It cost a pretty penny, but it symbolized our new start, sweet, sturdy, rooted in the land we loved. As the staff wheeled it out, guests oohed and awed. Emily sauntered up, elbow propped on the table like she owned the joint. Her laugh was too loud, her movements too careless. Then it happened. Her arm nudged forward, and the cake teetered. Time slowed as the top tier slid. Then the whole thing collapsed in a heap of frosting and crumbs. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emily burst out laughing. "Whoops. Guess it couldn't handle the heat," she said, still filming on her phone. I stood frozen, my hem splattered with icing. Heat flushed my cheeks, not from anger, but from the sting of humiliation. Mom hurried over, her face a mask of mild concern.
Oh,
"Honey, it's just a cake." Emily didn't mean it. She's just playful. Playful? At 28, Emily knew better. Dad, Andrew, stayed seated, nursing his beer, eyes on the horizon like he was watching a distant storm. No one helped clean up. Guests whispered, some chuckling awkwardly. I forced a smile, but inside, something cracked. This wasn't new. Emily had always been the golden child, her mistakes excused while mine were magnified. Like the time in high school when she borrowed my project and claimed it as hers, Mom said she was just inspired by me. I slipped away to the bridal suite, a small adobe cabin on the property. The mirror reflected a bride who looked composed, but my eyes told a different story, wide, awakening to years of overlooked slights. My phone buzzed with notifications, tags from Emily's live stream. I tapped one. There she was, reenacting the fall with exaggerated flair. Sis's cake took a dive, iconic, right? Comments poured in. Queen move. Hilarious. My chest tightened. It wasn't just the cake, it was the applause for my erasure. Ben found me there, his hand warm on my shoulder.
Lauren, talk to me.
I shook my head. It's not about the cake.
Ben.
It's about how easily they let her steal the spotlight. He pulled me close. but even his comfort felt distant. We returned to the reception, dancing under the stars, but the joy had soured. Later, as we cut a salvaged mini cake, Emily posed for photos, her arm around Mom like nothing happened. I overheard a guest, the younger sisters stealing the show. That night, in our honeymoon suite overlooking the desert, I lay awake, the vast silence outside mirroring the void inside. Clarity hit like a monsoon. I couldn't keep being the supporter in my own life. The next morning, over coffee on the patio, Ben suggested we let it go. Family drama blows over. But it didn't. Back home in Phoenix, I dove into work, grading papers for my third-grade class.
But the incident gnawed at me.
Then came the email from the venue coordinator, a mix-up with the seating cards. Mine read supporter of the bride instead of bride. Emily's assistant had handled the final proofs. Coincidence? I doubted it. Digging deeper, I found old texts from Emily. Help me with my truck payment? Or don't expect me at your wedding drama-free.
Suplatreat si de ignorat. I confided in Ben.
But he downplayed it. She's just jealous. Don't escalate. But escalation found me. Checking our shared family trust, set up for Mom's retirement after Dad's heart scare, I saw Emily added as co-manager without my knowledge. The log showed the change days before the wedding. My heart pounded. This wasn't clumsiness, it was calculated. I confronted Mom over the phone. Why add her without telling me? Her voice was placating. You're so busy teaching. Lauren. Emily has time on her hands. Time for what? Sabotage? The pieces fit. Emily's resentment stemmed from our childhood.
Ide exalyat quietly.
While she floundered, dropping out of community college and chasing influencer dreams. Mom always cushioned her falls, leaving me to fend for myself. But this crossed lines, legal ones. In Arizona, tampering with trusts could be fraud. I consulted a lawyer friend discreetly. Document everything, she advised. Intent matters. As days turned to weeks, anonymous tips trickled in via email, videos from the rehearsal where Emily joked about shaking things up. One showed Mom laughing. Lauren's too serious. It'll loosen her up. Betrayal burned. But I chose strategy over rage. I gathered evidence, screenshots,
Logs.
witness statements from guests who'd seen the accident up close. Confrontation came at a family dinner in Flagstaff. The air thick with tension around the oak table Dad had carved himself. I played the videos on my phone. Silence fell like desert dusk. Emily's face paled. It was a joke. Mom stammered. We didn't mean harm. Dad finally spoke. We've favored her too long. It's time to own up. Tears flowed, mine included. But in that raw moment, something shifted. Emily broke down. I felt invisible next to you. Lauren. Always the perfect one. We talked deep into the night, unpacking years of unspoken hurts.
No excuses.
Just truths. Mom admitted her bias stemmed from guilt over Emily's struggles. Dad confessed his silence enabled it. It wasn't easy, anger flared, voices rose, but we emerged with a plan, therapy for all, clear boundaries, and legal fixes to the trust. In the weeks following that dinner, the desert winds seemed to carry a promise of change. Phoenix bloomed with spring wildflowers, mirroring the tentative growth in our family. I threw myself into teaching, finding solace in my students' wide-eyed curiosity. But healing wasn't linear. Doubts crept in like shadows at twilight. Emily reached out first, suggesting coffee at a local spot near Camelback Mountain. I hesitated but agreed. We sat on the patio, iced lattes sweating in the heat. I was jealous, she admitted. Eyes on the horizon. You had it together, Job.
Then.
The wedding. I felt like a failure. Her vulnerability disarmed me. I never saw you that way, I replied. But your actions hurt. We didn't hug it out Hollywood style. But it was a start. Back home, Ben and I hiked the trails around South Mountain, our conversations turning introspective. I should have backed you sooner, he said, squeezing my hand. I thought ignoring it would make it go away. I nodded. We all did. In our ways. The legal side progressed smoothly. My lawyer drafted amendments to the trust, ensuring transparency. In Arizona, such changes required notarized consent from all parties. Mom signed without protest. Emily with a shaky hand. No fraud charges. We opted for mediation, focusing on restoration over punishment. Then came the deeper revelation. The family land in Sedona. Grandma's old cabin amid the red rocks. I'd cherished memories of stargazing there as a kid, dreaming of turning it into a writing retreat. Checking records online, a public database accessible to anyone, I discovered the deed transferred to Emily 6 months prior. Via power of attorney I'd signed years ago for Mom's medical emergencies. My stomach dropped. How could you? I asked Mom over lunch at her house, the scent of her famous green chili stew filling the air. She sighed, setting down her spoon. Emily needed stability, a place to call her own after her breakup. I thought you'd understand. Understand? It felt like theft. But digging into Arizona property law, I learned transfers under POA must align with the principal's intent. Misuse could void them. Instead of suing, I proposed a family meeting with a mediator.
Dad,
Ever the quiet rancher, surprised us by speaking up. This land was meant for both girls. Let's divide it fairly. Emily agreed, tearfully. I don't want it if it means losing you. Lauren. The process took months, surveys, appraisals, legal filings with the county recorder. We split the acreage. I got the cabin side with views of Cathedral Rock. Emily the forested plot for her off-grid dreams. It wasn't revenge, it was equity. During this, anonymous messages continued, tips about Emily's past posts mocking my achievements. One video showed her at a bar, boasting about one-upping sis. I confronted her gently. Why broadcast our pain? She hung her head. For likes. Validation. I'm deleting it all. And she did, pivoting her online presence to honest vlogs about personal growth in the West, hiking tips, desert survival, reflections on sibling rivalry. Mom joined a support group for parents of adult children, learning about enabling. I favored her because she reminded me of my wild youth, she confessed during a tearful call. But I dimmed your light in the process. Dad, battling his health, wrote letters, simple, heartfelt notes on yellow legal pads. Proud of you.
kid.
Always was. These gestures built bridges. Fragile but real. Ben and I celebrated our 6-month anniversary with a quiet picnic in the Superstition Mountains, watching the sun set in fiery hues. We've grown through this, he said. As for me, I started journaling, turning pain into stories, fictional tales of Western families navigating betrayal and bonds. One evening, Emily showed up unannounced with a homemade cake, simple,
No frills.
frosted with sorry in clumsy letters. We shared it on the porch, laughing about the irony. To new beginnings, she toasted. But not everything mended overnight. Boundaries remained. No more shared finances. Regular check-ins via therapy. The lesson lingered lightly. Family isn't about perfection, but presence. In the vast Western landscape, where canyons carve through stone over eons, we'd learned that time and truth could reshape even the deepest rifts. Summer heat baked the Arizona asphalt as our family therapy sessions began in earnest. The office in downtown Phoenix was unassuming, with saguaro prints on the walls and a counselor named Dr. Reyes who spoke with a calm, drawling accent that put us at ease. We gathered weekly, Mom fidgeting with her bracelet, Dad staring at his boots, Emily scrolling her phone until gently reminded to engage, and me, notebook in lap, ready to unpack. Let's start with intent, Dr. Reyes said in our first session. Emily shifted uncomfortably. I didn't plan to ruin the cake. But maybe subconsciously I did. I felt overshadowed. Her admission hung heavy, like monsoon clouds. Mom chimed in. I enabled it. Thought protecting her would keep peace. Dad grunted agreement. Silent too long. Ranch life taught me to endure, not confront. I shared my side, the isolation, the erasure. It wasn't just the wedding. It was a lifetime of being the reliable one, invisible unless needed. Tears flowed.
Tissues passed.
No quick fixes, but progress and acknowledgments. Outside sessions, we applied lessons. Emily volunteered at my school, helping with art projects, bonding over kids' unfiltered joy. They're brutal but honest, she laughed one afternoon. Paint on her jeans. Legally, we tied loose ends. The trust was restructured with equal access and oversight by a neutral fiduciary, standard in Arizona to prevent disputes. For the Sedona land, we filed a quitclaim deed adjustment, splitting utilities and taxes fairly. No court battles. Mediation saved us thousands and preserved dignity. This sets a precedent for healthy separation, my lawyer noted. Emily sold her portion of online merch profits to fund her share, turning negativity into entrepreneurship. Anonymous tips tapered off. But one final message revealed a video of Mom discussing the deed transfer with Emily. Lauren won't mind. She's got her life together. It stung. But in therapy, we dissected it. Assumptions hurt, Dr. Reyes guided. Mom apologized profoundly. I projected my fears onto you girls. Forgiveness crept in, not blanket, but earned. I hosted a small barbecue at our Phoenix home, grilling steaks under string lights. Laughter echoed as Dad shared old ranch stories.
Emily demonstrated a viral dance trend.
And Mom passed potato salad with a genuine smile.
Ben whispered.
This feels right, yet challenges arose. Emily slipped once, posting a vague rant about family hypocrites. I called her out privately. Boundaries? Remember? She deleted it, apologizing. Old habits. We grew closer through honesty, hiking together in the Grand Canyon, where the vast chasm mirrored our past divide. We almost fell apart like these rocks, she said at the rim. But erosion makes beauty too. Dad's health improved with better management. He even joined a veterans group, opening up about his own family traumas from his Wyoming upbringing. Silence ain't strength, he gruffed one evening over coffee. Mom started a book club, reading titles on emotional intelligence. Learning late,
but learning, she said.
As fall approached, with cottonwood leaves turning gold, I reflected on the journey. The wedding sabotage, once a wound, became a catalyst. I wrote an article for a local magazine, Rebuilding Family in the American West, anonymized but raw, emphasizing communication over conflict. Readers responded. This hit home. Emily collaborated on a podcast episode, sharing our story as a cautionary tale. Ben and I planned a vow renewal, not grand, just us and close friends at the Sedona cabin. No cake this time. Pie from a local bakery. Emily attended, toasting sincerely. To sisters who fight but find their way. The sun set over the rocks, painting the sky in pinks and oranges. In that moment, The lesson crystallized lightly. Revenge corrodes, but redemption rebuilds. Family, like the desert, thrives on resilience, adapting, forgiving, growing under the wide open sky. With the vow renewal behind us, life settled into a rhythm that felt earned, like rain after a drought in the arid west. Phoenix mornings brought crisp air, and I'd jog along the canal paths, processing the past year's tumult. Emily moved to her Sedona plot, building a tiny home with solar panels, a symbol of her independence. We texted daily, sharing memes or trail photos, our bond strengthening without the old toxicities. "Check the sunset," she'd send, and I'd reply with a heart emoji, no longer bracing for barbs. Mom and Dad visited often, the drive from Flagstaff becoming a ritual. Over dinners of enchiladas and cornbread, we'd discuss therapy takeaways. "I see now how favoritism fractured us," Mom reflected one night, her eyes misty. Dad nodded. "Won't happen again." Legally, everything was buttoned up, trust audited annually, land deeds recorded with a Coconino County office. No lingering ambiguities. Arizona's clear statutes on estates provided the framework for our peace. But humanity crept in through small acts. Emily surprised me with a custom cake topper for our anniversary, a porcelain bride and sister figurine, standing side by side. "We both deserve the spotlight," the note read. I placed it on our mantle, a reminder of growth. She channeled her influencer energy positively, partnering with local nonprofits for desert conservation vlogs. "This is real content," she told me during a video call. "Not drama for clicks." Challenges persisted, testing our resolve. A family holiday in Sedona brought tensions. Emily's ex showed up uninvited, stirring old jealousies. But we talked it out by the fire pit, stars wheeling overhead. "No more secrets," I insisted. Agreement came swiftly, fortified by our shared history. Ben and I explored more of the West, road trips to Utah's Arches, where the red sandstone inspired metaphors for endurance. "Like us," he said, "weathered but standing." I began mentoring young teachers, sharing stories of personal resilience disguised as professional advice. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates you control. The anonymous sender revealed themselves, a cousin who'd witnessed the wedding fallout. "I stayed silent too long," she messaged. "Glad you're all healing." Her honesty prompted a larger family gathering, a reunion picnic at Papago Park, where aunts and uncles aired long-buried grievances. Laughter mixed with tears, forging stronger ties. As winter neared, with rare snow dusting the higher elevations, Emily invited us to her finished tiny home. Cozy, with views of vortex sites, it felt like a fresh chapter. We baked cookies together, reminiscing without bitterness. "That cake fall was rock bottom," she admitted. "But it pushed us up." Mom gifted us matching journals for writing our truths. Dad carved wooden signs for our properties, Holloway Haven. In these gestures, the humane core shone. We're all flawed, navigating life's canyons, but choosing compassion over conquest lightens the load. The light lesson? In the American West's vastness, where isolation can breed division, connection demands effort, but the rewards, like a blooming saguaro after rain, are profound and lasting. Years blended like the shifting sands of the painted desert, our family evolving under the relentless Arizona sun. Therapy tapered to monthly check-ins, tools internalized, active listening, empathy exercises. Emily thrived, her conservation work gaining traction, features in local magazines, collaborations with park services. "This beats drama any day," she'd say during our bi-weekly hikes in the McDowell Mountains. Mom volunteered at a senior center, channeling her nurturing instincts outward. I see my mistakes in other stories, she shared over tea. Dad, healthier, took up woodworking again, crafting furniture for Emily's home. Building something solid, he gruffed, pride in his eyes. Then, and I welcomed a daughter, naming her Sierra after the ranges that shaped us. Family rallied, Emily as the fun aunt, teaching her niece about desert wildlife, Mom knitting blankets, Dad telling tall tales. The wedding incident became a softened anecdote. Remember Aunt Emily's cake mishap? We'd laugh, emphasizing the turnaround. Legally, we established a family charter, non-binding but symbolic, outlining respect, transparency. Inspired, I pursued a master's in counseling, specializing in family dynamics. Your story fuels this, Ben encouraged. One evening, under a full moon at the cabin, Emily confessed fully, I sabotaged because I feared losing relevance. But you showed me grace. I hugged her. We all needed the wake-up. The humane ending wasn't fairy tale perfect but real, forged in effort, rooted in understanding. The light lesson echoed. In life's dramas, choose humanity. It transforms betrayal into bonds, much like the West's harsh beauty yields to vibrant life.